It's quite a funny house. It's all flicking around, not finding anything.
Right, well, we just go.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm sorry, but I hope you heard me. I do apologise for being a bit late. I think we all know the emergency evacuation, do we? Yes? You've all been here before, haven't you? Apologies for absence. There are none. No non-members attending?
Apologies for absence, sorry, Councillor Capron. Mrs. Capron. Sorry, you're so faint I could hardly hear you.
Right, any declarations of interest? No? Any questions on notice? No? Motions on notice? No. Right, we'll start with item 7.
Right, before I introduce the item, if I could just introduce our representatives from BDO, external auditors. So Richard Bint, who you've seen at previous meetings, is our partner and he retires at the end of March. So thank you, Richard, for your work on our account. Good luck for the future.
Wow, thank you from me as well.
Yes, thank you.
BDO, this is their last year, 14-15, auditing the council's accounts and subsidy claim. EY will be taken over for the 15-16 financial year, but just to tide us over that, the last few months, David Eagles will be the partner from BDO looking after this account. He worked on our account 5 years previously, so he knows the council. Yes, so he's just come along to, so you know the face, and he'll be at the next audit committee.
Hello.
So item 7 is just an update on the recommendations that BDO made after their audit of the 2013-14 accounts, and the appendix just provides an update on where we are. They're all completed except for the marketplace accruals item on page 7.3, and that can't be completed until after the end of the financial year.
Sarah, could I just ask a question on the marketplace accruals? I noticed there was a duplicated order. Was the cost involved minimal or was it a large order?
It was
in the region of.
It was quite a large order. It was reported into audit committee as a specific amount. I can't remember the details. It was planning policy order, and they just used a different description when they raised the second part of the order, and there was just a bit of confusion. So there was no actual payment out of the council. It was just the accrual that was duplicated, and it was picked up by the external auditors.
Okay, thank you.
So everybody happy?
Yep.
The recommendation, it is proposed that the committee resolves that the monitoring sheet for the BDO recommendations arising from the annual governance report 2013-14 be agreed.
Yes,
You all agree? Right. Item 8.
As part of BDO's work, they audit the subsidy claim, so that's the housing benefit subsidy and business rates. And value of the housing benefit subsidy claim is about 17.7 million, and this report just highlights the errors that they found on the testing. But I don't know if Richard wants to just give a bit of perspective to it and context.
Yes, well, of course this work is very, very detailed, as you'll see from the description here. We have to look at what's called an initial sample of, in this case, about 40 individual cases, and examine them in great detail. In fact, most of the work's done by the council, I should say, and we sort of check it, but nonetheless the work is very detailed, and which is why you'll see that we have sort of very detailed comments in our report here about what we found on each case. The rules are very complex, and so the all councils, unfortunately, do make mistakes in applying them. There are many rules that have to apply to each case, and we have to look at all of the rules. To put it into context, I think actually Rochford was certainly one of the better ones that I have done this year. There are many that are sort of far worse reports than this one. This is quite a good report actually, although there are a number of pages of detailed matters in the report. So I just wanted to give that context really, that actually your Rochford benefits section actually is doing pretty good work actually.
There is something that I'd like to come up on page 2 of the report, the testing of initial samples of 41 cases identified 10 errors. Well, that's like 25%.
Yeah.
But then it looks as though you did go further with the testing. And
Yes.
what you're saying is that you are quite happy with it, yes?
Yeah, I mean, 10 out of 41, yeah, it's 25%. It does seem
It seems
a
a lot.
high error
yes.
rate. So I was trying to put it in context really to start with, because there are quite a few aspects of each case you'll look at. So, while in an ideal world every aspect of every case would be absolutely correct, the amounts involved are generally very, very small, and you'll see that I think from some of the in some of the cases here we do actually quantify them. So it isn't as bad as it appears that sort of 25% of the cases are wrong actually. But we do further work, yes, and we then go on to reach conclusion on the larger samples. In this case, actually, the larger samples, so-called 40 plus, have fewer errors than the initial sample. So I hope again that puts it into a bit of context.
Thank you. Councillor Christine?
Thanks, sir. Thank you. That's fine.
You normally use first name here.
That's okay, I don't mind. Yeah, I've listened to the complexity, and I agree that the complexity of this system is immense, and I think the errors are very minor. And I think we should applaud the staff actually for the amount that is correct rather than focusing on the ones that are incorrect. However, just a small point, the underpayments, that these are often the most vulnerable people. Have we had any feedback? I'm pleased to see they've been corrected. I think that's great. But have we had any feedback from the affected claimants to the effect that it has affected them, or no feedback on that account? Or don't we know?
I'm not aware of anything, and I haven't seen any
No.
formal complaints about it.
Well, I was thinking the amounts are so minor that it's probably not, but
Yeah.
and they are corrected, which is the major thing. Thank you.
Chairman, I appreciate that the sums involved are minimal, but why is it we have to wait for our external auditors to highlight this and we can't pick some of these things up from internal audit? Is there a reason, or is it, I don't know. But
It's just the volume of, this is a really heavily transactional based area of work, and I think with the move to 0 hours contracts and the real-time information, where HMRC are now getting the information from payrolls monthly, we're just getting such a high volume of change of circumstances that you just start, claims are being changed sort of almost kind of weekly and monthly. So it's just the volume of claims. There are quality checks. So the Revs and Bens teams themselves quality check the work. But some will slip through, and then internal audit, as Richard said, had done most of its testing, so they found the errors internally. But unfortunately, yeah.
is there anything? Is there a reason that some of these things are slipping through? Is it human error? Is it new people into the jobs? Is it? I don't know.
It'll be human error. I mean, sometimes it's confusion about the start date. We've had it in the past that, people just, when someone moves into a house, what date do you count as the first date of occupation? Is it the first full day that they're there or the day that they actually move into the property? So I think it can just be confusion over definitions.
So really, providing we told all the staff the same thing, the first day is the first day they move in, irrespective if they move in at 6 o'clock in the evening, that's it.
Yeah. But it's just the volume of changes that are being processed by the teams. But I think they're pretty hot on training down there, and they will pull up when, they monitor individual staff for their error rates.
Okay. Right, we'll go on page 3. Yeah, going back to what David was saying, actually, the top bit where it resulted in £226 decrease in the amount of subsidy payable. As you were saying, Leslie, earlier on, that we're a bit concerned that some of these people are very vulnerable, as you were saying, and £226 is quite an amount. Is that on one person?
May I actually know the answer to this one,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman? This one is similar to a scheme called the non-HRA, where we can claim a certain amount back from the DWP and the rest we carry. What this one actually done is that the amount that was set was wrong, but it didn't impact on the claimant got the right money, but it was an accounting thing with what we can claim back from the DWP.
Okay, that's fine. Any more questions on page 3? Page 4? Page 6? Or it's 10 of 12, isn't it? 7? Right. So, if you all agree, then the recommendation is to propose that the committee resolves that the grants claim return certificate for 2013-14 be noted. Item 9. Right, 9.1. I've had quite a long discussion with Yvonne regarding 3.3, where there's an invoice query. This is an ongoing thing, so I'd like it minuted that we brought it up, but it's something that we're going to have to come back to at a future date. So you happy with that?
Yeah.
So the recommendation is to propose that the committee resolves that revised audit plan for 2014-15 be agreed. Agreed. Right, item 10. Anybody got any questions on item 10?
Minor point, if I may, Chairman. I noticed that I do beg your pardon. I'm sorry, I'm referring to the wrong one. I withdraw that.
Okay. So there's no queries there. Then the recommendation, it is proposed that the committee resolves that the schedule of business for the Audit Committee 2015-16 be noted. I think it's exclusion of the press and public. Well, we haven't got